On a night thick with anticipation, streets outside the arena pulsed with the electricity of hope and unrest. Banners rippled overhead, wrists glistened with silver masks painted onto skin, and the distant sound of drums could be heard even inside the cement heart of the stadium. Under the buzz of flickering lights, the ring waited, a deserted island surrounded by a storm of expectation. Tonight, it wasn't just any luchador who would step inside. Tonight, the world would watch as Rocka Doddle King, the unlikely American phenom, faced his moment of truth. The air inside was heavy. Thousands pressed shoulder to shoulder, eyes fixed on the curtain from which the contenders would emerge. Mexico City's legends whispered through the rafters, their triumphs and heartbreaks hanging like banners above the struggle about to unfold. For months, Doddle King was seen as an outsider, a showman more than a wrestler, a curiosity in a tradition-rich cosmos. Yet that night, something was different. The chants bore his name, mingling with skepticism and curiosity, the way a mixing bowl holds both hope and doubt. Backstage, Rocka Doddle King stood in a patch of haze, the heat from overhead lamps building a truth serum of sweat on his brow. His mask, a star-studded vision in red and blue, sat ready, staring back at him from its perch on the bench. It was more than just cloth and thread. It was a promise, a shield, and a dare all at once. His hands trembled, not with fear, but electricity, an ancient trembling that only those called to destiny can truly understand. Then the call came, a bell beneath the ground. He strode into the corridor, each step echoing, the past and future merging with every stride. The crowd's murmur sharpened into a collective heartbeat as the speakers announced his name. Out he went, into the phosphor-lit battleground, where tradition and upstart courage would wrestle for supremacy. Their voices washed over him. Some jeers, many cheers, all eyes waiting to witness defiance or disaster. His opponent stood in the ring already. El Tigre Resonante, a luchador as storied as the city itself. Cloaked in gold and green, with a gaze that pierced as deeply as the legends whispered about him, he was an emblem of all that Lucha Libre represented. Honor, agility, art. El Tigre embodied it all, and for many, he was the rightful guard at the gate of greatness. This would not be just another match. This was a trial by fire, a rite before an altar. The bell's clarion call cut through the noise. The match began, each movement measured and loaded with meaning. El Tigre attacked with a dancer's grace, a panther's ferocity, his body bending in the air as if flying had become another sense. But Rocka Doddle King met every leap with a strength born in American heartland gyms, forged through years on the independent circuit where crowds were smaller, but dreams were no less grand. Minutes became hours in the crucible of adrenaline. Sweat blurred vision, and bruises bloomed like wildflowers, purples and reds marking the sacrifice both men were laying before the sport. Sometimes King's bravado seemed reckless, drawing El Tigre into traps and counters that stunned the purists in the stands. At other times, his inexperience in lucha's sacred dance left him gasping, searching for the next breath while El Tigre soared above him, a comet burning in the night. Yet with every slam, every stinging forearm, something happened. The crowd, once divided, grew united by awe. Each man's will pulled them together. The rhythm built, tension thickening, the sound of palms smacking mat music unto itself. King rose again and again, battered but unyielding. Where others may have bent beneath the weight of heritage, he pressed forward, fueled by the knowledge that every great tradition began once with an outsider daring to dream. Then, at the edge where myth and sweat converge, the moment arrived. El Tigre attempted his legendary finisher, a move spoken of in reverent tones, comic books, whispers in back alley gyms. But Rocka Doddle King, spinning with a desperation that only absolution can bring, countered. It was instinct and choreography, luck and determination. He hoisted El Tigre high, balancing tradition on his shoulders. The arena seemed to recoil and expand. Breaths caught, time bent, and then, crash. El Tigre hit the mat. King's pin was counted, 1, 2, 3, and the bell rang, more a thunderclap than sound. At first, silence. The crowd, so used to the expected, was momentarily stunned by delivered destiny. Then, a roar. Not a mere cheer, but a river breaking its banks, an exhale of joy, loss, relief, and unrestrained admiration. For in that instant, Rocka Doddle King had not only won, he had transformed. The American, the outsider, had traversed the crucible and emerged, bloodied, battered, champion. Hands raised, mask kissed by the glare of spotlights, King stood in the center of the ring, his body trembling, his chest rising with each hard-fought breath. El Tigre, true to the code of Lucha Libre, offered his hand, then pulled King in tight, a gesture of respect that echoed beyond language or borders. That night, the city's pulse moved to a new rhythm. In taco stalls, boys painted their faces not in the lone colors of heroes past, but now with stars and stripes alongside traditional gold. In faded gyms, old masters spoke the name Rocka Doddle King with respect, telling pupils that greatness belongs not to those born into legend, but to those who meet it, eyes blazing at the ring's very edge. Long after the final echoes faded and the arena emptied, Rocka Doddle King sat alone beneath the humming floodlights, gazing at the belt resting in his hands. It was heavy, yes, but not as heavy as the mantle he now wore. He thought of home, of all who had doubted, and all who had quietly believed. He thought of El Tigre Resonante, whose loss brought dignity not only to the victor, but to the tradition itself. For in the greatest traditions, there is always room for new stories, a new legend, forged on a night thick with anticipation, beneath the beating heart of a city that dared to believe in something unexpected. The night Rocka Doddle King became champion was not just a victory in the record books. It was a promise that the ring, like history itself, always has space for those bold enough to dream, brave enough to fall, and relentless enough to rise again.